so welcome everyone that is logged in right now. We will be starting in just a second, so if you all can just mute yourselves for the time being until we go through your introductions. Thank you guys so much, and you can go ahead and mute your screens and your audio. We're going to go ahead and have the guest speakers introduce themselves, so go ahead guys. We'll start with Claire.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Fujioka. I'm the admissions advisor with the Shaler College of Business.
Aloha everyone, my name is Leilani Harjati and I'm an academic advisor at the Manoa Advising Center for Exploratory Students.
Hi everyone, I'm Joy Nishida. I'm with the STAR team, one of the developers and the behind the scenes person.
Yay. Yes, so we're very lucky to have, especially Joy, because she helped to build and the start. So very, very lucky to have her. Thank you so much. So with that, I guess I will turn it over to Claire. So why don't you go ahead?
Alrighty, can everyone see that okay? Yeah, okay. So thank you everyone for joining us. Today we're gonna go over STAR GPS and registration, as Connie mentioned. So to start off, so this is kind of the homepage that students see once they log on. So we're actually going to do a demo, and we're going to use a wonderful student. Her name is Starry Night. And so this is what students will see when they first log in with their UH username and password. It'll default to the actual GPS registration page, and this is what they will see. So as an exploratory business student, there are only about 4 semesters or 2 years because the business curriculum isn't built into it yet. Once students are admitted, their curriculum will actually update, and that's when they'll be able to see all of their additional requirements. So these top left tabs will be here. This academic essentials page, it will actually give the overview of all the degree requirements. And so there's the graduation requirements, focus requirements, and then the general education and then business requirements. And so as students register and start to enroll in courses and complete classes, these will say tentatively complete to complete, and all of the courses will kind of fit in between. So it's empty now because this Starry Night student doesn't have any courses completed. So everything will say complete and everything will have a red X, but as they go through their degree pathway, things will update and it'll be a nice blue check and things will say complete. So a really helpful tool that I like to use a lot with students is this tab called the What If Journey. And so basically this holds every major at Manoa. There's also some double and triple majors as well. So for example, if I wanted to choose the accounting, then I would click submit. And so what this will do is it will now pull everything as if the student is an accounting major. And so now we'll be able to see that there are 4 years because now all of the business and accounting major courses have been reflected in here. And so I'll use this tool often with students to help them plan a graduation pathway and to kind of give them an idea of what their degree sequencing could look like if they want to try to graduate early, what that would look like, and so forth. So this is not permanent, so students can keep running as many what-if journeys as possible. So if they're considering accounting or econ or poli-sci, they can keep running those what-if journeys to see the different major pathways. And so this tab transcript, so if your students are possibly receiving any AP credit or in early college courses, again, they can view their transfer report by semester. Right now, because a student has no AP courses, nothing would be reflected, but if they did, it would show up in here. And then the last one is this scholarships button. And this is actually where students can go to apply for scholarships. Scholarships open once a year for students from the period of December through February, and it's for the following academic year. So once a student is enrolled at Manoa, they'll receive an email, usually in early to mid-December, I believe, letting them know that scholarships are open and to go ahead and apply, and they'll apply through STAR. And so they can click the button, go through scholarships, and then they can view all the different scholarships available. And then the deadline closes in mid-February, and then selections are made, students are notified, and then the scholarship is awarded that in August for that following academic year. All right, so now back to the good part, the GPS registration. And so right now we're back into the accounting, but I'm going to exit this what if journey and go back to the exploratory business just so there's not as many requirements reflected in there. So all of these courses are what was reflected in the academic essentials tab. So all of the general education requirements and the admission requirements for business. For example, let's say, right, so this fall box here are right now what the student would try to tentatively register for. But let's say the student took AP Psych and took the exam and think they did really well, well enough to get college credit. So we'll say, okay, what we can do is drag this into the sandbox. That doesn't mean that the requirement has been eliminated. The requirement's still there, but I'm confident enough that I scored well enough to get credit. So I'm just going to tentatively leave that for there and plan as if I'm going to get credit. For example, let's say I also took the English AP, but I don't think I did as well. I don't think I scored a 4, which is the minimum score needed on AP to get credit for English 100. So I'm going to leave this here because I don't think I did that well. However, if my score comes out in July and I do get credit, then that's a registration update I can make later on. But for now, I'm not too confident, so I'm going to register and hold my seat anyways. So right now you can see that I have 4 classes, but I want to be in 5 classes. So I'm happy with being in the micro econ, the English 100. I'm in Japanese right now in high school. So I also want to continue that into college. So I'm going to plan to continue it so that I don't lose the knowledge that I have. I'm also in calculus in high school right now. So I think I'm just going to take calculus now because I'm in it and I don't want that information to go away. So I'm going to add calculus into there as well. And so now I have a good 5 credits or 15 credits, 5 courses or 15 credits. And now I'm going to look to register add drop. So I'm going to click this button, but above it, it says my registration date is on the 21st. A lot of students will also have a time. So it will say the 21st at 9:30 a.m. at 1 p.m. So that's when the student can actually submit their registration. And I'll show you what that means later on. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and click this register add drop button. It's going to take me to a checklist, which if I were a student, I would go through these, but we can still preview the registration here. All right, so this is what the student will see once they go into the GPS. So you can see the 5 courses that we pre-selected are listed here. So I'm going to start with my first one, micro. So I'm going to select a course, and this will actually show every single micro econ course that's being offered. Because registration hasn't started and there's still seats available, I'm not going to click this show closed courses, but if there were any closed sections or full sections, if I click that, it'll show the ones that don't have seats available anymore. And so basically, this process is very wonderful from before. And so this lists all the sections of econs. It gives you the days, the times, the location, the instructor. So let's say I want to look at this Tuesday, Thursday at 10:30. I'll click it and then it'll pop up in my handy dandy calendar on the right-hand column. And so I can get a visual. So instead of reading, okay, Tuesday or Thursday at 9, Monday, Wednesday at 9:30, I can just click it and it'll show and reflect in this calendar here. So let's just go with this one for now. And then on the top right, I'm going to click the written communication, which is the English 100. And again, I can see all the days and times. Maybe I don't want a 7:30 class. So I'm going to go to a Tuesday, Thursday at 1:30. And that's where it is. And then I'll keep going down the list. But next I'm going to choose calculus. So, oh no, this has a prerequisite. What does that mean? If I click the expand button down here, it'll actually give the prerequisite over here. So it'll say math 134, 135, or 161 with the C or higher, or placement. So what that means is a student has to either take the math placement exam to place into math 203, have taken one of the pre-calculus courses, or if they scored high enough on their math, SAT or ACT, they can actually email the math department for an override. So if they, I don't know off the top of my head what the score is, but if they score high enough, then they don't have to do the placement or the course. They can just ask for the override and they can enroll in the course. So let's say, oh, I don't want to take a placement exam. I'm lazy, but oh no, it looks like all of these math courses have a prereq. Oh, except NREM. So Natural Resource Environment Management does not have a prerequisite. So I can enroll in any one of these because it doesn't have a prereq. And so I'll just select one, select this and say, okay, I'm fine with that. And then I'll just go on. And so the Global Multicultural Perspectives, this is the foundations course. And so there's lots and lots of courses to choose from. So let's say the student really loves global politics and wants to do an intro to international global studies. So there are two options, there's global politics and intro to global studies. What are the difference? So the student can expand and kind of look to see what the narrative. This one is online, but I kind of want an in-person course. So I'm just going to do this one. So it pops up down here, and then maybe for the language, I haven't taken the Japanese placement exam yet. I looked on the website and it said that right now they're not currently offering the placement exam because of COVID-19, but to check back later. So for now, okay, that's fine. But oh my goodness, there are so many different subjects on here. Let's try to filter only for Japanese language. So I'm going to click that button. I'm going to find Japanese, and then I'm going to click search. So now this will pull up only the Japanese subject. So I think I'm good enough in Japanese to place into the 201 level. So let's see what some options are. Oh, I really wanted this 9:30, but there's a time conflict. Oh no, what time conflicts with econ. So I can either decide to change my econ time, or I can just suck it up and do an 11:30 class. And now you can see my schedule is spread all over the place, which depending upon the student, they might want, might not want. So if I were a student, I probably don't want it all spaced. I kind of, not want to add it. So maybe I'll look at the NREM and say, it looks like all of them are at 3 p.m. Maybe that's not what I want to do. So maybe I'll try to take the placement exam and I'll try to place into this Math 203, which is at 12:30. All right, not too bad. Yeah, because if I wanted the 12, it conflicts with another one. So students just have to go back and forth, kind of like a puzzle, to kind of see where they want their different courses and class times. So let's say I want an earlier class. So, but now I have back to back classes. I don't know how ambitious I feel, so maybe I'll go back and change something. So the student in the process can kind of figure out what they most want, whether it be all morning courses, or maybe their schedule is not too flexible, so they can only commute or attend school 3 days a week. And so at certain points, they'll have to kind of give and take what they want. And so let's just say, all right, I'm happy with this. I'm going to check out. And so right now this gives me a summary. And then I realize, oh no, I'm going back to back. I have my campus map out in front of me. All right, let's start at poli-sci. It's in Gartley. Next is econ. I'm gonna have to go from Gartley to BizAd. All right, that's no problem. But then from that, I'll have to go to BizAd to Kuykendall. It's downhill, so 10 minutes is not bad at all. But then I have Japanese after that, and then I have to hike it from Kuykendall to more, which I will get really good exercise. I don't know, I'll try to walk through campus later on to see if I can do it. And then from more, I have to go to Keller, which is not that bad. So lots of different variables for students to take into account when planning their class schedule. But once they kind of have that set, again, the registration time is not yet. So for now, I can still just keep these in here. And then when my registration time pops up on the 21st, I can go ahead and submit at drop classes, and then I'll get an email confirmation notifying me that I have in fact registered for those courses. Just because these courses are held in here does not mean that the student has actually registered for the course. So remind your students to submit it, click that blue submit button, and then inquire whether they received an email notifying them that yes, you have registered for these courses. A lot of times students will say, I added the course, but they didn't submit it. So even though they had a perfectly planned schedule and there were lots of open seats when they planned it, now everything filled up because they didn't submit it. So just remind your students to submit your registration. In GPS, they can also view and pay for their tuition, and they can also look for more information on parking, and they can also add their classes to their Google Calendar from here as well. Um, that's kind of everything I had for GPS. I know it was kind of quick and brief, but for now, we'll just go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint, and then we can answer any questions later on.
Thank you so much, Claire, for guiding us through STAR GPS registration. When I first started as a UH student, I remember registering by phone, and to now see it where the students can be adjusting versus having the paper plan and things. So thank you, Joy, and the designers of STAR GPS. This has truly been life-changing for students and for the advisors who support students. Now, sometimes students, they encounter situations that prevent them from registering for classes. So this next section that I'm going to be covering and discussing, holds, overrides, and waitlists, it's when some of those things happen, the unexpected, or when students aren't able to register right away. So first off, we have holds. So what are holds? Well, holds prevent registration. I like to say that holds are gentle reminders that action is still needed to register, gentle reminders. And sometimes it may be simply providing current information like the pre-registration checklist, including an emergency contact. Sometimes it may be a financial obligation hold, or maybe a student parked their moped and got a ticket and needs to pay that parking fine. There may be health clearance documents that still need to be submitted, or transcripts, or for international students, perhaps paperwork for visa, health insurance, or perhaps a placement placed by the English Language Institute. There are also sometimes students may have an advising hold. And again, this is a gentle nudge, a gentle reminder to please connect with your academic advisor for mandatory advising. Next up, we're going to see what the holds look like on STAR GPS. So when Claire was navigating through STAR GPS, there was a portion where it had like 2 or 3 of these like red X's. Well, if a student sees these symbols, when they see the red X, that means prevents registration right now. Immediate action must be taken. Now again, if a student has a hold, they cannot register because of an academic, health, or a financial hold. Now, these holds, there are specific information. So we recommend that students call the number listed at the end of the hold message. If the student is not an active student, please call the records office at their home campus. Now, note in the description, it lists the office that placed the hold. And only that office that inputted the hold can remove it. So if a student comes in, meets with an advisor and says, wait, I can't register, I have a parking fine, the advisor cannot remove that hold for the student, but the student can see the information, the phone number, and who to contact to, again, do the gentle nudge, the action needed to then remove the hold. So again, when a student sees a hold, especially the red X, action is needed right now before registering. Next, let's talk about overrides. So let's say a student does not have a registration hold, but there's a class the student is unable to register for. Well, registration overrides allow instructors or departments to grant exceptions to registration restrictions, and this gives special approval for a particular student. And students can get overrides by contacting the instructor or the department directly. But please keep in mind that these overrides are not guaranteed, and the override doesn't mean that the student is now registered for the course. The student will still need to log into STAR GPS and register and add the class themselves. There are different types of registration errors that students may see, like a time conflict, a prerequisite error, or major restriction. What's really important when an override pops up to, when in doubt, please have the students connect with their academic advisors to see if this is an appropriate class for them to be taking. If there's a time conflict, again, connect with your advisor. For prerequisite errors or major restrictions, you can connect with the instructor or department. But again, when in doubt, connect with your academic advisor. We're here to support you. Next, let's talk about wait lists. So let's say a student has been crafting, they're beautiful, they're so excited, this is their perfect registration, and then add, oh, the class is full. Well, the waitlist feature allows students to get in line, get in queue for a class that is completely full. And on the, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, our waitlist thing disappeared. But when a student is searching and adding for a class, they'll see if a class is full, they'll see waitlist. Oh, there it is. They'll see waitlist. And then they'll see, oh goodness, in red, there's 0 seats left in that class. But then when they click for more information, there's a button that says waitlist this class. You can see it at the bottom in orange. And they press on that, and then yes, now they're waitlisted. So if someone drops that class, so now there's actually like 1 seat available, then the student first in queue on the waitlist will receive an email at their hawaii.edu account with a set time frame that gives them time to then add and register the class. So again, it doesn't mean that they are added to the class automatically. It means that they have this window of time to go on to STAR and add the class themselves. Now, if the student has not checked their hawaii.edu account and they miss that window to register, well, that open seat then goes to the next student in line in the waitlist queue. So it will keep going for when seats become available. So please remind students to check their hawaii.edu account. I really want to share about information about our summer advising online workshop. A lot of the topics in our high school counselor webinar series about placement exams and transfer credit transcript and so forth, a lot of this information is also covered in the free online workshop that's open to all incoming students. Each module has a really quick video tutorial. So how to make My UH your UH, how to navigate STAR GPS. Do you need a placement exam for your specific major and so forth? So please direct your students to our summer advising online workshop. It actually launches this week. We're so excited. And more information can be found at our summer advising website, manoa.hawaii.edu/undergrad/summer advising. Just rolls off the tongue. And if you have any questions, you can always email us at summer.advising@hawaii.edu.
For you. Thank you so much to our special guests, Claire, Leilani, and Joy. Thank you so much for being here on the webinar and for making this webinar possible. I think it's really good that we had a walkthrough and show the counselors how to register. So as this is the last in the series for the Hawaii Counselors webinar, I will have more series, but I will be sending out a Google link for suggestions, feedback, other topics that you guys like to hear. That would be really good for us to kind of plan accordingly with different offices, just like how Leigh and I kind of collaborated and like, okay, how can we make this series happen? And then also it's good for admissions to know what kind of panelists that you guys would like to hear at the next Hawaii High School Counselors Workshop. So thank you so much for attending. Feel free to leave the meeting at any time unless you have questions and we can answer. So thank you.